There are many traumatic things that can happen in life, and often those even harsh experiences can help drive us toward the Lord. And one of the more traumatic events that has driven people toward the Lord has been times of war. For example, go back to the Civil War. That was a brutal, brutal time. 620,000 Americans died. It's hard to imagine that not every single person who was in the army on either side had some comrade or some friend who was killed, even family, as they were across America. And so while there's patriotism that rallies behind troops and supports them, for those who go through war, it's tough stuff. And as a result, what we see in the Civil War is that both on the northern side and the southern side, there were revivals of religion. This is an interesting book that came out after the Civil War. It's called Christ in the Camp. It's done by one of the Confederate chaplains who talks about how waves of religious revival started sweeping through the Confederate camp toward the end of the war. And after the war, a high percentage of those Confederate soldiers ended up going into the ministry in some way, shape, fashion, or form. But the North also had waves of revival. As a matter of fact, here is a letter that we just obtained. And this letter describes something that happened in 1864 on the Union side. And by the way, there's a good chance that several years from now, nobody will even know what this says because it's done with cursive writing, and we're not even teaching cursive in school anymore. This would be like hieroglyphics for a lot of kids. But nonetheless, in this letter, it talks about this competition that happened in 1864 because there was a Michigan unit where it said a wave of religious revival broke out among that particular unit. And a bunch of those guys, as they came to the Lord, their chaplain was going to baptize 11 of them. Well, when the guys from Massachusetts found out about that, they said, whoa, we don't let Michigan beat us in anything. And so the colonel stood up in front of the group and said, we're not going to let Michigan beat us. I want 25 volunteers up here right now to get baptized. So even while the Massachusetts colonel may have made it into a competition, it does indicate that he was not against religion. And it doesn't downplay the fact that there was a genuine revival going on over in the Michigan side. So religion was welcomed in the military. It was an atmosphere that was part of it. That's the same kind of atmosphere we need anytime we have difficulty and trouble. We want to be able to go to God. And what we see happening on both the Confederate side and the Union side in the Civil War is a good indication that God's there to help when we need help.